Hey, good morning, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss Fantasy Football Week 8 beckons. Can't wait for today's action. There's some really good games today. Of course, Cincinnati Bengals, San Francisco 49ers, the highlight game of the day. Lots of weather issues that I discussed earlier in the weather video, so make sure you check that out. We have a snow game on tap potentially for Denver, San Francisco. It's raining quite heavily here in New York for Giants Jets. Also, the Steelers Jaguars game figures to be impacted as well with the rain, but no wind in all three of those games from what I saw in terms of the forecast. So that's good. Wind is always worse than rain. But anyway, good morning, everybody. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're not already a subscriber, busy day as always on tap. We have any developments that take place today, instant injury videos, things of that nature, and any other things that crossed my mind during the course of the day. And of course, the wrap-up stream later on today. Good morning to everybody in the chat. And so let's get started. So certainly, as always, the injuries and who's playing, who's not playing, dominate the discussion. Michael Thomas is sick for the New Orleans Saints, and there's optimism he's going to be able to go, but they're going to have to monitor him before the game just to determine whether he will be able to play or not. Of course, there's a lot of trade rumors going, around the league. Derrick Henry, Marquise Brown, the DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, pretty much everybody on Tennessee. You have Burns also for Carolina, the star pass rusher. So, and that, the deadline is Tuesday, which is Halloween. So if you have any spare spots on your bench, I would definitely, and I did this in both of my leagues just this morning, I picked up Marvin Mims for the Denver Broncos because I do believe either Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton will get traded. I think, you want to have a discussion on who's it going to be. I still think it's going to be one of those guys. There's no reason for Denver to hold on to either one of them. So, there's a lot of intrigue today too in terms of these games. You have C.J. Stroud and the Texans taking on the Carolina Panthers, a battle of the first two quarterbacks off the board. And C.J. Stroud to this point has had the much better season than Bryce Young. And, there was a lot of questions about Bryce Young, whether he would be able to withstand an NFL pass rush, given his size. He's already missed a game this season with injury. CJ Stroud, on the other hand, just threw his first interception of the season. He's been playing tremendously. Very, very accurate quarterback. And that's the thing. I always talk about accuracy. When a college quarterback prospect comes into the league with high-end accuracy, as Stroud showed when he was at Ohio State, it usually translates very well to the NFL, right? There's a lot of cases of guys who did not have good accuracy coming out of college and then struggled in the NFL. Your Kyle Bowlers, your Jamarcus Russells, your Achilles Smith, some of the biggest busts in NFL history at the quarterback position came into the league with accuracy question marks. Now, Josh Allen was the exception in terms of the guy who was able to improve as he got a little bit older and more comfortable with the league. But like I said, it's interesting to see that matchup today. Would the Panthers, if they had a do-over, go with C.J. Stroud? And here's the other thing. So the Chicago Bears own Carolina's first-round pick in 2024, and the Panthers right now are winless. So they're in the driver's seat, their pick at least, for Caleb Williams. So the Chicago Bears, if they get that number one pick, I can almost guarantee you they're going to throw in the towel on Justin Fields, probably trade Fields at some point in the offseason to somebody, whether it's, Tampa Bay, quarterback needy team somewhere. Maybe he goes to the Rams and learns for a year behind Matthew Stafford. That's a possibility, but that's an interesting situation to monitor as well. So, all right, let me get to some of these questions. Addison, Higgins, Ridley, or Pittman. I like Addison and Pittman. I saw this before I came on. I like Addison and Pittman. Higgins has been bad like all season. So, I don't trust him certainly against the 49ers. PPR start one, Miles, Chuba, and Henderson. I'm going to go Henderson there. Wilson, Garrett Wilson, I assume that's who you mean, Zamora. I would still start him even though it's raining there. Somebody has an ugly question. Okay, Emil, Chuba, Jeff Wilson, A.J. Dillon. Yikes, I'm going to go Chuba. Actually, I think that's the obvious call there. I don't think it's that close because I think Chuba Hubbard is going to get more touches, and he's coming off a really good game and plays some Miles Sanders. Sitting Ridley or Tank Dell. I'm playing Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell is a terrific matchup this week. Good morning. Let's get these wins. Yes, Tim, let's get wins. Carr or Minshew today. Lost Richardson. I'm going to go Minshew slightly. Starting Aaron Jones. I am starting Aaron Jones in my one league, and I'm not happy about it because I think he's going to be again under a snap count. He's so frustrating. Yeah, I did see that they're not trading Hollywood Brown. No surprise there, and they shouldn't. Monty is out. Yep. And if Jahmyr Gibbs goes nuclear again today, then we might have to worry about, does David Montgomery now get usurped a little bit? Jimmy G versus Detroit, Gino versus Cleveland, Jimmy G. Fields will end up in Atlanta if traded. Hey, listen, if Fields goes to Atlanta, then that's a really good spot for him. How will Russ, especially since I like to run the ball, how will Russ or Love this week? Not Love. Howell played really good against the Eagles last time. I would have to give him the nod. Jordan Addison, Thielen. Thielen, definitely Thielen. They're going to have to play from behind, I think, in that game. Jordan, yeah, definitely Thielen. All right, $2 super chat from Mark Engelson, trying to catch up on all these comments. Is Kyler Murray worth the stash? Yes. Mark, I have him in both of my leagues. This is a top 10 quarterback when he's on the field, right? So, he's got his old buddy, Marquise Brown, waiting for him. He's going to play next week. I think next week is the return, and absolutely 100%. At the worst, at the very least, he's a prime trade chip. So I have Murray behind Jalen Hurts in one league, behind Josh Allen in another. And I'm going to hold on to him. And if somebody loses a quarterback and they need a replacement, I'm going to be the guy they go to. Yeah, Ed, you know what? I did go 1-2 last week. My work league is 6-1. I'm doing really well, but 5-2 with my friends and family. That was really frustrating last week as well. So King Smoker, I did say Thielen. That's who I think you should go with. Start who flex. I have 2 flex spot: Palmer, game time decision, Hunt or Rice and Williams. Javonte Williams, I think, is a good matchup in the snow today. Don't know how heavy the snow is going to be. Palmer, you got to be careful there. And I would go with Kareem Hunt. Picked up Colin Murray. Yep, hold on to him. Stashed all 3. 2 is on a buy. Yes, so I would definitely do that. Spears. Listen, all right, so let's get to the trade rumors. All right, now that I caught up on the comments. And Mark, thank you for that super chat. So there's a lot of names. And listen, the last couple of years, we've seen that the trade deadline become a thing. Like usually the NFL trade deadline, nothing happened. But this year we have a lot of prime names. Now, Saquon Barkley has been told he's not being traded, so we can stop with that talk. Derrick Henry, the Titans have said they're not actively trading him, but they're listening. All right, so listen, the Baltimore Ravens have to get Derrick Henry. Even the Philadelphia Eagles or Dallas Cowboys, I think those are the 3 best fits for him. The Rams maybe as well, but I think Baltimore, this is a Super Bowl caliber team. Todd Monken, it is a home run if they can get their hands on Derrick Henry. I think that's the move to make there. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is going to get traded. I don't think they're going to trade Courtland Sutton. But again, pick up Marvin Mims because you know what? If Sutton or Jeudy don't get traded, then you just cut Mims next week. The guy has flashed whenever he's gotten an opportunity. And so I think Mims should be picked up in all leagues, 100%. And Spears will go to the moon if Derrick Henry does wind up getting traded. DeAndre Hopkins, there's no reason not to trade DeAndre Hopkins. I actually think Hopkins has more of a chance to get traded than Henry. The Titans, what is going on behind the scenes? Are they talking with Henry? Is Henry saying, all right, listen, I'm ready to go? I think they'll do right by him, whatever he wants. He's earned that. DeAndre Hopkins, they don't have any skin in the game here beyond this season. It was a 1-year deal. Somebody could use him. He's lost his speed, but he's still a good route runner and has excellent hands. I think he could help somebody. It's not trustworthy, but like I said, he's flashed. So I would definitely pick him up. Brian Burns looks like he's on the block as well. The Cowboys, they need a receiver, so DeAndre Hopkins could be a fit there. I'm just looking at some of these names. Dalvin Cook, does he get traded? The Jets have a capable Michael Carter behind them that they could certainly put in there. The Patriots, Hunter Renfrow, there's somebody who's on the outs that Bill Belichick could certainly get his hands on. He loves those slot guys, whether it's Wes Welker, whether it's Julian Edelman. Hunter Renfrow, I think, would be relevant again if he ends up with New England. Trent Brown, does he get traded? Buda Baker, some defenders. T. Higgins is an interesting one as well. So T. Higgins is not, he's a free agent at the end of the year. They have Tyler Boyd behind him. I don't think they would trade T. Higgins, but if they got offered, let's say, a 2nd-round pick for him, then I think the Bengals would have to listen. I don't think they're re-signing Higgins. So, the Bengals still have they're entertaining thoughts of a Super Bowl, right? And they should. They have an all-pro quarterback, all-pro top 2 receiver. They have the pieces there. It's been a little bit of a struggle, but T. Higgins, though, if somebody comes calling for him, I think they have to listen. Zach Moss is going to play today as long as he gets through warmups for the Indianapolis Colts. He's really now sliding into just backup territory. He's playing well on a per snap basis, but this is Jonathan Taylor's team. They didn't give him all of that money for nothing. And as far as T. Higgins, Dallas, I think that would be a perfect scenario there because Brandon Cooks is just not exactly working out. 523 rushing yards for Zach Moss. Like, that's nothing to scoff at. But again, they gave the money to Taylor, and Taylor's starting to play well now himself. He's coming around. The rust is coming off. And I can also say the same thing about Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is looking better and better as the weeks go on. I think he's working off, coming back from the injury and the rust and all that other stuff. So, we have to see what transpires there. Aaron Jones or JT? Aaron Jones, my God. I mean, it's been awful. I mean, that hamstring strain happened in week 1 and we're in week 8 and we're still talking about a snap count. So it's JT for me, George. Michael Thomas or Watson. If Thomas plays, I'm still going Thomas. He's been ultra consistent. He's been 8 to 12 points every week. Actually, more like 10 to 14 every week. And he's staying on the field. Jets defense versus Giants. That's a tough one. I would have to say Falcons slightly because it's going to be a mixture of Willis and Will Levis. So that I would say Falcons, not Carolina. Good morning, man. Warren or Foreman this week for safety? That's a tough one. If it's a PPR league, Ronald, I would say Warren. If it's a standard, I'm going to go Foreman. Higgins to the Cowboys, that would be something if it does happen. Rico Dowdle, yeah, he's a handcuff running back that's got value if anything happens to Tony Pollard. Stafford, Minshew, Ritter, I need a quarterback. I would go Stafford because I think there's going to be a lot of passing in that game. Fields is hurt. Yeah, Fields is hurt, but he should be coming back in a couple of weeks. Have depth of no one is scouting. Yeah, I think it'll be okay, Zamora. I mean, your team looks solid. Wilson, Olave's been disappointing, no doubt. Palmer has been good. He scored and had one brought back a couple of weeks ago. Flowers doesn't really score a lot of touchdowns. Bijan is just a victim of the coaching staff. Overall, I think you're okay. Nico, Watson, or Rice. I'm going to say Nico Collins today. That is a plush matchup against the Carolina Panthers. 6-2 today. Yeah, well, I'm hopefully going 7-1 and 6-2. So Deshaun Watson still week to week. It's just ridiculous. That whole thing is just ridiculous. It really is. Tyler Lockett will play today with the hamstring. So Tyler Lockett had his reps managed this week. A lot of the Seahawk players on offense are banged up. Like Kenneth Walker doesn't have an injury designation, but he missed time during practice this week, but he's good to go. Tyler Lockett, like I said, he's playing today. Robert Woods is out for the Texans, so that's why I'm playing Tank Dell in one of my leagues. I think he's going to have a good game. Has an opportunity to take the top off of a Carolina defense whose secondary is in shambles right now. They have everybody hurt in that secondary, so Tank Dell's going to have some opportunities, and obviously Nico Collins as well. Raheem Mostert is good to go. Fire him up like usual. I think Jeff Wilson becomes a backup this week. He passes Salvon Ahmed on the depth chart, and he is a good handcuff to own as well. I have him on my bench. Josh Palmer, a little more optimism. He's going to play over Gerald Everett. Everett with the hip, Palmer with the knee. They're going to be game time decisions, so this could go either way. They do feel like Palmer will be able to go, though, but that is a late start tonight, and so I'm not taking any chances. I'm just going to keep Palmer on the bench in one of my leagues. Raheem Mostert expected to play. Taysom Hill expected to play today. So I know Juwan Johnson, I believe Juwan Johnson's back this week, and that's going to be interesting to see what happens with Taysom Hill because he's really catching a lot of fantasy football value over the last month. Musgrave still questionable. Yeah, Musgrave, I don't think you really want to use him anyway. Curtis Samuel, game time decision. Trevor Lawrence, questionable, but he's going to play. He always plays. He's never not going to play, so I'm not worried about him at all. We're just about 14 minutes away from the updated injury report. So that was all from in the last 24 hours, what I read there. Baker Mayfield knee issue, contusion. He's going to keep playing through it. 10 days of rest. So, MRI was clean. We do need Baker Mayfield to stay on the field unbelievably. That I've been saying that because of Mike Evans. I would play Zay Flowers, Mark. Don't take a chance. Learn the lesson from me when I had to start the third string Packers running back, even though I pulled that off. Buffalo Bills, a Brown defense, rest of the season, Browns. Hunter Henry, don't bother. Don't start anybody other than Ramondre Stevenson in New England. Curtis Samuel going to go between Samuel Jackson, Jeff Olson. He's a game time decision, very risky, but that's a matchup. If he plays, I think he's going to get opportunities. Kincaid in 2 leagues. Yeah, Kincaid's been good. And listen, they're going to use him. I knew they were going to use him around the red zone like they did with Dawson Knox, and it's exactly what happened. He's going to be a touchdown threat every week. Juju Smith-Schuster is back for the Patriots today. Nobody cares. That team is so awful on offense, like it's not even funny. And they're going to be in a market for a quarterback as well. Drake May would be somebody I think that would, for North Carolina, the quarterback there, that I think would interest him, or Bo Nix from Oregon. I need a tight end stream. Taysom Hill, try him out. He's putting up the points. Need a flex full PPR, Deontay Johnson, Ridley, or Miles Sanders. It's so funny how so many questions now about Calvin Ridley, and I get it. A lot of rain in that. I'm going to have to go Ridley. I trust him more than Deontay Johnson. I think Ridley has a better chance to score than Deontay Johnson. We know, Deontay is allergic to the end zone lately. So in situations like this, and Doug Peterson obviously is a very shrewd offensive mind. He knows that Ridley is frustrated. I think he's going to make a concerted effort to get him the ball today. They need him. So I do think he's going to bounce back. Yes. Breece Hall, listen, he's going to get a lot of work. This is a run game all the way with the Giants. Ball security has to be a concern for both guys with Saquon Barkley and Breece Hall, but this is a game where they're going to run the football a lot. I think Juwan Johnson is back, but again, they've found something. Just get my water here. They found something with Taysom Hill that's working. So conceivably, and the offense has kind of struggled the last couple of weeks, and that's one thing that hasn't been an issue is Taysom Hill. And how about Alvin Kamara? The amount of targets and receptions he's getting is just absolutely insane. Now, he's not getting goal line work. You have Jamal Williams and Taysom Hill there, so that's going to hurt him in standard leagues. But he is like the perfect PPR player right now. He doesn't have that same explosive speed that he once had, his first 5 years in the league with the Saints, but he is getting an insane amount of targets. But that's Derek Carr for you. He did that with Josh Jacobs last year as well. Ridley, Roschon, or Watson. I'm still going Ridley, Lex. Need one, Deontay, Dell, or Roschon. I'm going Dell there, JK. And you're welcome. I think Dell's going to have a huge game today. And by the way, I put Eckler as the picture today because I'm trying to will it into existence. I need Eckler to finally get his shit together. Pittsburgh versus Jaguars. Okay to play the kicker from the Jaguars. It's going to be dicey. That's a hard place to play. I would try to find somebody else. That's a hard place to kick. Historically, always tough to kick there. And now you have rain. So Ed, find somebody else. Best defense rest of season between these five. 49ers, Bills, Cowboys. Worst to bet. I'm saying 49ers, Jets, Eagles, Cowboys, Bills. Bills are decimated. The Bills could use Adoree Jackson from the Giants. Like, they need a cornerback in the worst way. High school team, yes, we won yesterday in a struggle, 14-9. We finished the regular season 7-1. We have the top seed going into the 4-round playoffs for the state title. So, yeah, you got to see what happens. So we have a home game the next 2 weeks. Obviously, if we win next Saturday, then we go play another home game, and then the final 2 weeks are at a local college here, Stony Brook University. But one game at a time. I mean, two of our best running backs have been out. We're getting one of them back next week, and the offense has really struggled, but our defense has been lights out all year. So we'll see what happens. We've gotten very close. I've been there 8 years, still haven't won a championship. We've gotten very close, but still haven't gotten over that hump yet. But thanks for asking. Gus Edwards or Palmer? You know what? I mean, I would rather go Palmer than Gus Edwards, and you could pick up Quentin Johnson just to protect yourself. Jair Alexander questionable for the Packers. Yeah, he's been beat up all year, Jair Alexander. Like, I don't understand it. He just can't seem to stay healthy this year. Bills defense, yeah, they might be droppable. They've lost so many people. I mean, they still defensive line is still solid, but that secondary is decimated. Um, Maybe give it another week or so, but they've been getting beat, consistently now the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I think the 49ers defense is the best. I really do. I've always been high in the 49ers, and that is a very stout defense, no doubt. Need a streaming quarterback, Carr or Howell? Man, I just don't trust Derek Carr right now. Howell played really well against the Eagles last week. So a couple of weeks ago, rather. What was that? 2 weeks ago? And it was a dud against the Giants last week. The pass rush is getting to him consistently. But I would go Howell. And Howell can pick up yards on the ground that Derek Carr can't. But their guys out for the season. The Bills guys, they have a number of guys that are out for the season. Tre'Davious White, chief among them. My 49ers over Eagles. Well, I've seen the Eagles defense consistently this season, and they haven't really been that great. Defensive line is good, but the secondary has gotten beat more than I thought. I mean, Sam Howell, who could do nothing against the Giants, was going nuts against, throwing the ball all over the field against the Eagles, right? So, they played better against Miami, no doubt about it, but I think the 49ers are better. Kyler should come back next week. Absolutely. I think that, again, he's a top 10 guy when he's in the lineup, and it's really going to boost Marquise Brown. This is your last chance to buy low on Marquise Brown for sure. Kevin Byard, that was a good pickup by the Eagles. They're going to have to integrate him. Certainly that will help. But again, I like the 49ers better. It's just they're solid everywhere. Like that 49ers team is really good, but we're starting to see a lot of these injuries, though, have an effect on this team. They have some of the most injury-prone offensive players in football with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. All three of those guys miss games on a yearly basis, right? I mean, McCaffrey, to his credit, he stayed healthy last year. So far, he's playing through the one injury he came up with so far this year. So, but that's what's going to undermine them, going forward. Vikings defense, I mean, it's a division with some bad offensive teams, with Chicago and Green Bay. So yeah, I think they can be okay, but I don't love that defense. I picked up that McBride. Yeah, McBride, I did that too in one league. Zach Ertz is on the IR for the next 4 weeks, so that could work. But, it's just a dart throw at this point. Spears, yeah, he could. I mean, it all depends on what happens with Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry, they need to just trade him. Like, let's move on already. 49ers corners, not great. Wondering why Sleeper says Higgins has a good matchup this week. The whole defense has been solid. I don't know why. And Higgins, like I said, he's had one good game the entire season. All right, we're 5 minutes from the injury report, so we'll get some clarity on a lot of these situations. The playoff schedule, I haven't looked at the playoff schedule that much. I'll start looking at that as we go forward. I honestly can't give you an answer on that one, Death Lord. I'm not sure who has the better schedule. I'd have to take a look at that during the week, and I'll give you an answer as we go forward. Am I going to trade Devontae Smith for Hollywood after this? I would definitely do that. I would trade Devontae Smith for Hollywood Brown, even if Smith has a good game, because just check back to the first month of last season when DeAndre Hopkins was suspended for the Cardinals and Murray was healthy. Like, he peppered Brown every week. I mean, it was 10, 11, 12 targets. It was insane. Marquise Brown was a wide receiver PPR gem, wide receiver 1 gem throughout September. And then, of course, Hopkins comes back and starts to suck in some of these targets, and then Murray gets hurt, and then the whole bottom just falls out. But, Hollywood Brown's not the most consistent guy from week to week, but the only consistency he's really had in his career was that last September with Kyler Murray. So I think that that's something that we really need to try to buy low on. Singletary or Spears? I'm going to go Spears. He's more explosive. I mean, Singletary's making a move on Dameon Pierce right now, but I'm not going crazy on that just yet. I mean, we've seen what Singletary can do with the Bills. It's just, mostly flex upside. Spears, meanwhile, has a untapped potential ceiling that he can get to, especially if Derrick Henry winds up getting traded. Yeah, as far as the defenses, I mean, to each his own, whether it's the 49ers and the Eagles. Death Lord. Roshan Worth starting today or Chuba Hubbard. I'm going Hubbard. I think Hubbard gets more carries. He had 16 fantasy points in a PPR league a couple of weeks ago before the bye in place of Miles Sanders. I know they have to kind of force feed Sanders with all the money they're paying him, but if things don't turn around, he's going to get cut at the end of the year. And they're just going to give the job to Hubbard, who's been really good. All right. So, thank you, King Spoke. I really appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and, hit the notification button as well, because there's a lot of videos on tap for today. Any injury that comes down the pike, I'll have a video up within a minute. So if you're new to the show, that's part of the staple of the Sunday program. I'm not dropping Spears so someone can cash in. Yeah, no, don't do that. Spears, Marvin Mims, Marquise Brown. These are the three guys you got to get this weekend, right? You got to trade for Marquise Brown. You got to, hold Spears if you have him already, and you got to pick up Marvin Mims Jr. Falcons defense over Vikings, yes. Yeah, the Titans are so bad. Like, they just are so bad. I mean, even when Tannehill was playing, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I mean, that was just hideous numbers. Mike Vrabel's a good coach. It's not going to cost him his job. I think they took one more shot at it. They had Derrick Henry. They brought in Hopkins on a 1-year deal. The offensive line was a mess. And that was the red flag with this team coming into the season. It got Tannehill hurt. And now it's just all gone in the gutter. Almost predictably, nobody really saw this. They're a very well-coached team. Mike Vrabel is a terrific coach, but, it's all gone to shit there now. There's no reason to hold on to any of these guys. Pittman and Garrett Wilson or Deontay and Ridley. I'd rather have Pittman and Garrett Wilson easy. I think I want to hold Smith for this week since I need to win now, but I'm going to send an offer. Yes, I would definitely do it. Like I said, I think Hollywood Brown has more upside the rest of the way with Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray is in that Matthew Stafford mode where he fixates on one guy. Although Stafford, to his credit, is, with Puka Nacua playing as well as he is, he's spreading it around more than I anticipated. So it's starting Tank over Ridley. Yes, I'm doing it. Start Tank over Ridley, but I do like Ridley this week too. But there is ill weather in Pittsburgh, so that's something that would sway me there. All right, so the injury report starting to come out now. Robert Woods is officially out. No surprise there. So these Patrick Mahomes, illness, no designation. All right, so Mahomes was sick. I didn't even know that. Okay, that's just a whole bunch to do about nothing. JJ come back. All right, so that's the other thing. So the Vikings, we need them to keep winning, and they are winning now. That was a really impressive win over the 49ers, and we need that incentive for Justin Jefferson to return. I have Justin Jefferson on the IR. I need him to come back motivated. It's got to be. I need him to come back so bad. George Kittle. I mean, yeah, if that's your team, it must be a very shallow league, because that team is really stacked. There's no reason to even lose that league with those players. That's for sure. Chris, what's the pickle? Let me hear. All right, I'm just refreshing the updates on game status here. All right, we have a $4.99 super chat from Steve Drakes. Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate that as always. Would you play Downs or Deontay Johnson this week? Also, would you play Henderson over Dell? I'll take it one at a time. I do like Downs over Deontay Johnson. I think this is a good matchup. The Colts are home underdogs. They're going to be motivated. Downs has earned that right now to be in our lineups on a weekly basis without question, because his best performances have come with Gardner Minshew. And as far as the second question, I'm going Dell over Henderson. I think they're going to get more involved with some of their other backs this week, and I do think Dell has a good matchup. Remember, no Robert Woods, Steven, so they're going to have Nico Collins probably going to be covered by J.C. Horn if he plays, and then that's going to open up opportunities for Dell. The Panthers secondary is completely ravaged with injury, so Dell, his big playability, is gonna have a huge day. So I am to the moon with Tank Dell. So again, thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate that. Randall Cobb inactive today for the Jets. So how about that? Randall Cobb is inactive. They've been really down on him. I'm watching football today. Yes, Robert, that's what I do. 12, if that's a 12-man league, Defler, that's pretty good. Need a running back too. Pierre Strong, Wilson, Singletary, Roschon. I got to go Singletary. That's out of those guys. He's got the best path to have enough touches to make a difference today. Dalton Schultz has been good. Michael Thomas active today. So anybody who has Michael Thomas, he is active today. A.T. Perry is playing as well. So I don't know if that's a hedge in case Thomas is not feeling good. But Thomas has played really well this week. Just going through the rest of the Tyron Smith, left tackle for Dallas, is inactive. So that's a loss. That's a pretty big loss for them, for sure. No Xavier Howard for Miami. So that's, Curtis Samuel is active. So Curtis Samuel is playing for the Commanders. So that's good to see. Taquan Thornton is a healthy scratch. I mean, the Patriots blew it again. N'Keal Harry, Taquan Thornton, they just can't get it right with these wide receivers in the draft. Belichick just doesn't know what he's doing when it comes to the draft. I'm sorry, he doesn't. This is another busted pick. Zay Jones is inactive today. So that's what we have right now. All right, so Taquan Thornton, unbelievable Taquan Thornton. I mean, he's just garbage. All right, $1.99 super chat, Joe Castle. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate that. Meyer or Njoku. With Jimmy Garoppolo back, I'm going to go Mayer. I said Meyer. Mayer. I'm going to go with him over Njoku. I can't trust Njoku. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. And we have a $1.99 super chat from Polumsky. You guys are really generous today. Thank you. Flowers or Ridley? Start to Foreman, Henry, or Walker. So Flowers or Ridley? I'm going to go Flowers. Better weather in that game, and he's consistently been bringing the PPR points on a weekly basis. And as far as Foreman, Henry, and Walker, the latter two, Henry and Walker. Henry and Walker deserve to. Roschon Johnson's back, so I don't know how many carries he's going to get, Polumsky, but I'm going Henry and Walker. And this is a showcase game potentially for Henry, so I think they're going to give him a lot of work. And Kenneth Walker deserves the benefit of that every week. He's scoring literally every week. He's been really good. So Mahomes is sick. I mean, who knows when these guys get sick now? I mean, is it COVID? Nobody talks about that anymore. If Judy gets traded, I think Mims could be a top 24 guy. I really believe that. He's that explosive of a wide receiver. And Jalen Ramsey is making his debut today. So, at some point they're going to have both Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. That's going to be a really, really, really potent secondary for this Miami team. This Miami team has weapons all over the place. I mean, they're scary good. I still think they're greatest show on turf good offensively. And, with now on defense, they have two of the top corners in the NFL. So really, really, really good scenario developing there. So, but anyway. All right, guys, so I think I'm going to jump off, get myself ready for the day today. Again, hit the subscribe button and the notification button. We're going to have a lot more throughout the course of the day, so stay tuned for all of those instant injury update videos because the injuries are coming. And then I will wrap everything up tonight, so tune in for that. Hopefully, we'll have good days, better than last week. Good luck with all of your games today, guys. I hope you all win, and I will see you a little bit later. Take care, guys.